Hi everyone, so this is going to be my first tutorial. It's going to be step by step and I'm going to teach you how to draw this right here. I want to make it more accessible, so it's going to be a little bit more simplified so everyone can follow along. And I am using the iPad Pro and Apple Pencil. The app is called Procreate. Now, if you don't have an iPad and Apple Pencil and you don't use Procreate, I believe there's still a lot of similar functions on Photoshop. The brushes will probably have a different name, but if you can find similar ones, I think you can also follow along. So first thing I'm going to do is open up the Procreate app, and the canvas I'm using is 3000 pixel by 3200 pixel, and the DPI is 300. So go ahead and create that. And the first thing we're gonna do is sketch it out. This really helps you orient the whole drawing as you follow along. And I normally use the 6B pencil for this. And I use this kind of dark red-brown color. You can use anything. You could use black if you want. This is just my own preference. And on the first layer, that's where we're gonna do the sketch. So we are going to sketch out the mermaid. So when I draw a face, I use a circle first. So you can go ahead and draw this ellipse. You can edit the shape and make it into a circle. And you can even adjust the size of that. And then about halfway, I draw the nose and the jawline, like so. And the ear is about here. And then I go ahead and I draw the neck. And her arms are laid back. So let's draw the shoulders. And the arm. Now I can always go back and change this. If there's anything that looks off, I'll teach you how to change it later. And then we can draw the chest and the waist. And then for the hair, her hair is going to be swinging this way. And so I'm just going to draw a general shape that tells me where the hair is going. And then just drawing some swishes here. All right, so this is going to be the very basic sketch. And now we're going to turn the opacity of this layer down and create another layer on top of it so we can finalize the sketch some more. Now, following these general lines that we created at first, you could kind of figure out where the head is going to be and what it's going to look like. So just follow those curves. All right, now I'm going to turn off this bottom layer. And if you think anything is off, you could go tap Adjustments, Liquify. And this is a very, very useful tool because you don't really have to erase anything that you've drawn, but you can still correct it. And what this does is you could push or pull your drawing. So the size is here, and that's basically the only thing I ever change personally. If you have a bigger size, then it's going to be stronger so that you can pull it more, like so. And if you have a smaller size, then it's going to be a little bit more narrow. So you're going to affect a smaller area. So I'm going to just pour it out to the middle, about 40%, and just play around with my sketch. You can just adjust it however you like. People have different preferences as to what constitutes a cute face. Alright, so I think I'm about done with the sketching portion. And oops, there's a mark here. I'm just going to erase that. And then we have to figure out, well, if we're drawing the ocean, then where should the ocean be? And I think I want my ocean to be around here, over her arms here and her chest. So the good thing about Procreate is you can draw a line. So you just go draw a line and Procreate would just snap it. But I think that's a bit too high, so I'm gonna try it again. Maybe around here. And the nice thing about Procreate too is that you can use their grids. So they have grids and you can know if your line is straight or not by aligning it. So that's going to be my ocean. And the next thing I'm going to do is draw the moon. So I'm going to create a different layer and draw a circle. Edit shape, circle. And I'm going to move it around. Maybe around here. I want it to be behind her face. And the reason being that gives strength and focus to her face. So the mermaid is our subject, and you want to design your art in a way where it casts the focus on your subject. And if the moon is the brightest thing here, and if it's right behind the mermaid, then that gives the mermaid the focus. And just make it a little bit smaller, just playing around. All right. I'm going to select the two layers and move them down a little bit. Because I kind of want the sky to be a little bit bigger. And this is also a nice composition because the ocean is about 1/3 of the whole drawing. Kind of want to tilt the mermaid's head a little bit back. So maybe I'm just going to use the select tool. This is a freehand. Just gonna rotate it a little bit back so it looks more like she's swaying her entire head. All right. Now we can select the two layers. Actually, I'm going to merge this layer down. So I'll make all my sketches in one layer. And you see this N here that means normal. You can press that and then you can adjust the opacity. And I'm going to turn it down so I could barely see my sketch layer, so that when I'm coloring, it doesn't really interfere with me as much. All right, the next step is to block in the colors, block in our base colors. And before I color, I'm just going to import the original drawing that I have, to use it as a reference. And actually, that's probably the easiest way for you guys to access the colors, so that you could just directly color pick from this drawing here. So I'm just going to color pick the skin color. I'm going to create a layer below my line art, and I'm going to block in that color. And I'm still using the 6B pencil brush. When you're blocking the colors, you want to make sure that there's no space in between here. So say that if there's a space here, when you fill the color later, it's going to spill all out over your canvas. So you want to make sure that the shape that you're creating is enclosed. And you want to enclose it here too. You could drop the color in. You want to kind of repair these little spots where the color didn't really fill perfectly. I'm going to use a liquify tool and adjust it a little. And erase these unnecessary portions. By the way, my eraser is set on a soft brush. But I suggest that you should set it to a medium hard airbrush, so it gives you more of a clean edge. I think the arms are a little bit thick, so I'm just going to slim it down. All right, I think the body looks okay now. So I'm going to block in the hair portion. Create a different layer. I want my hair to be below the face. I'm just going to set my color to a little bit darker so I can see the difference. And then I'm just gonna put some strands. And I kind of want to space the strands out, not evenly, because hair should be something that's unruly. So just randomize it. Just put random strands around. And this is where the liquify function comes in handy again. You can adjust the shape accordingly. Adjustments, liquify. I'm going to change the size so it's a little bit bigger. It has a stronger push. And I'm just going to push this part out a little bit. Now there's no rules to this. It's just how you want the hair to look. So just feel free to play around with it until you're satisfied with the general shape. All right, I think that looks okay. And then now is the fun part. We are going to start on the background. Create another layer and put it beneath everything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the moon circle first. So I picked this kind of very light purple color. And I'm going to draw a circle. Edit shape, circle. And you can move it until it fits your sketch. And then I'm just going to fill it in and color in that little specks where it didn't fill it in perfectly. And then I'm going to pick a color that's on the edge of the drawing, which is a dark blue, right here. I'm going to create another layer beneath everything, and I'm just going to color it in completely. So after doing that, I'm going to create the ocean. I'm going to select this purplish color right here. Now, the colors that you pick for this step is not really important. You just want to pick the base color. So the color that's the average of everything that's going on here. So for the ocean, it'll be something purple. For the sky, it'll be like a purple blue. Create another layer on top of that and follow the line on your sketch. Right, and I'm gonna fill it in. Move it down a little. Next thing we're going to do is draw on the clouds. I'm just gonna move the picture down here. And before we draw on the cloud, I do want the sky to have a little bit of gradient. So you can pick this purple here that's close to the ocean line. It's this color right here. And I'm going to use a soft airbrush, which is under the airbrushing section. I'm going to go to my sky layer and maybe change my brush size so it's a little bit bigger and just color it in gently. And now I think it's time to color the clouds. For the clouds, I used the pastel brush and the vine charcoal. I'm going to use a vine charcoal for now. So it's under charcoals, vine charcoal. And my opacity is not 100% here. It's about 60%. I'm just going to pick this purplish blue color right here. I'm going to create a layer on top of the sky and just play around with the clouds. Do some zigzags. then I'm going to pick a lighter blue, like this cloud right here. And do the same thing. And then lastly, I'm going to use a bright pink, bright purple pink. Again, there's no rules here, just however you want to make the clouds look like. Alright, so that's it for the sky. I do want the top to be a little bit darker though, so I'm going to pick it, move it towards the darker side, go back to my sky layer, and use my soft airbrush and just go over the top. Just to give it a little bit darker hue on the edge. Okay, so now we are going to soften up the moon a little bit because the moon is glowing. And I'm going to select this pink purple color here. I'm going to go to the cloud layer. And again, I'm on soft brush. I'm going to kind of color around the moon. Just give it a little bit of glow. All right. Now I'm going to do the ocean. I'm going to move this picture up so we have the space to do that. And I'm going to create the base gradient for the ocean, just as we did for the sky. So I'm going to pick this middle color of a dark purple here. And I'm going to alpha lock this layer. All you have to do is tap the layer, click alpha lock, and what that does is you won't be able to color inside the alpha lock area. Go into my ocean layer using the airbrush. I'm just going to brush it in gently. I'm going to select an even darker purple, this color. Brush it in more towards the front. All right, and then I'm going to start drawing in the waves. Again, I'm going to use my Vine charcoal brush. I'm going to select a really dark color here. Dark purple, almost black. Go to the ocean layer. And if you're not confident that, if you think that you're going to change the waves later, I suggest creating a layer on top of the ocean to draw the waves in. Just gonna do a couple of swishes. Now towards the front, the wave is going to be bigger. And around the body here, the waves are going to be a bit darker too. towards the back, the waves are going to be smaller. So I'm going to switch to the 6B pencil brush. Make the brush size fairly big and continue to draw more waves. And they're also going to be a little bit more dense, so less spaced out towards the back. I do want this part to be darker, so I'm going to pick that color, make it darker, go back to the charcoal brush, and just color it in. Alright, so I want the waves to be more smudged, so less clear. I'm going to use a smudge tool, and it is set on soft pastel, and just smudge the waves out. Right, after doing that, I'm going to add the highlights of the ocean. So I'm going to pick this bright pink here and add it to places that require highlights. Okay, and now we can move on to the person, the mermaid. So what I want to do is draw the eyes. I'm going to pick this pretty dark hair color here. It's very dark purple. Create a layer on top of the body layer. And I like to use the water pen for small details. I'm just gonna trace the sketch here for the eyes. And that to me is not dark enough, so I'm gonna use a darker color. Alright, so now I can see the eyes. And then I'm going to pick this dark silhouette color, which is a dark purple. It's basically the same as this wave color. Going to the body layer, I'm going to alpha lock it and use a soft airbrush. Just color in the side. Just half of the body. And I see that this part didn't fully go into the waves, so I'm going to un-alpha lock it so I could use the liquify function. Just pull it down. Okay, now we're going to make the hair darker. Same as this color here, this dark purple. Go into the hair layer, just gonna drag it in to change the color. So after doing that, around the hair is going to be a bit of a glow. So if you look here, there's a bit of this purple, light purple glow. And that's exactly what we're gonna do. So we're going to select that color, alpha lock the hair, and again, I'm on the soft brush. Just kind of color in the edges. Give it some glow. All right. And over here, you want the head to kind of melt into the hair or give it some hairline. And since our body layer is on top of our hair layer, what I do is I just erase some of the head area to reveal the hairline. Something like this, and a little bit of hair here going around the ears. I'm going to color in the hair some more because clearly you haven't colored enough of it. All right. And we didn't give her eyebrows yet, so going back to the water pen, going to go to the layer of the eyes and just give her some eyebrows. And also her lips. All right. And then we should give her a bra too. So a dark purple color. On the body layer, you can alpha lock it so you don't draw out of the line. And just give her this triangular bra. Alright, so now we have all the basics down. And we just need to garnish it a little bit more. First thing is the water splashing from the hair. So what you want to do is pick this white color here. And you can create a layer on top of the moon. I like to use a 6B pencil brush for this. And just give it some specks, following the curves. Irregular specks. When I spread them out, you can connect some droplets. Sometimes making this lines and sometimes dots. Don't worry if it's not perfectly curved because we can always use liquify to change that. Something like that. Use liquify to change the shape however you want. And then I'm going to add some bright pink below that water. And then we're going to add some highlights beneath the body and the hair layer. So as you can see here, here are some white highlights. So you could create a layer below the body and the hair layer, and I did it above the water layer. And just give the silhouette some nice highlights. And then with the hair, the water, and the body and the highlights, what we can do now is add the stars, which is the funnest part. All you have to do is create a layer on top of the clouds. So here's a sky layer and the clouds, and this is our stars. I'm still on the 6B pencil brush. And I just use this light purple. You can even use white. And just put some stars in. And I like to do this cross type thing. So I just put a dot and I draw a cross. And then for some, I just like to put dots. Alright, that's plenty of stars. And what you can do next is, on top of all the layers, well, this one is a line sketch, which you can turn off now. But on top of all the layers, I'm going to do a color dodge layer. Now what color dodge does is it gives your drawing some shine. So click N, go select color dodge. And the darker the color that you're using, the more shine it's going to be. It's like the opposite. It's weird, I know. Use the soft brush. I picked this purple, dark purple color, and just dot it on where you want more shine. See how the stars are glistening more now? You could do it on the water too. Now this shine is a bit of a blue hue, and I want it to be more warm. So I'm going to move it more towards the warm red or pink. I'm going to put some on the waves too. And lastly, I do think that the horizon needs a little bit more shine. So I'm going to select a brighter pink. Go to the sky layer. And I'm going to add a bit of texture. So I'm going to use Divine Charcoal again. Or you could access it from here. Those are my favorite brushes. But yeah, it's in the charcoal, vine charcoal. And just add it to the edges. And if you would like to add extra stuff that makes the drawing look nicer, then you could follow along here. But this is about done, I would say. But for me, I just feel like the moon in the sky has a bit of a, too clear of an edge. So I'm just going to add a bit of texture around there too. So using the Vine Charcoal brush, I'm going to go to the moon section and just kind of add some Starry Night texture along it. And that's it. And that's your mermaid swinging her hair against the moon with a million stars drawing. So let me know what else you guys want me to do a step-by-step video of, and I can try to design it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and please share the drawing that you've drawn. You could just tag me on Instagram, or you could comment under the YouTube section, and I will go and take a look because I love looking at your pictures.